we actually live? It kind of looks like we're live, but are we? We'll see what happens. Okay, so it's Sunday. It's needle felting day. We are picking back up with our Bob Ross needle felt along. We've been following along with season 3 for some time now because it takes me a while to work through these. And so far we've done all of them. I was originally planning on skipping a couple, but we didn't after all in the end. And we're still pushing through. We're on the 11th episode of season 3. And that is, there's Stream Elements. And that is Rustic Barn. The link is in the chat. And that is pinned there as well for anyone that wants to go and watch the tutorial in full. We have the tutorial small in the bottom corner. And I don't have the volume on it. It's muted. I do have closed captionings on it, though it's probably so tiny you probably can't really read it. But it's in pause most of the time, so if you actually want to watch it happening in full, you can go to the link to the Bob Ross YouTube channel. Alright, so now get our finger doodles on here. And when we last left off, we had just put the roof on our barn, and today we're going to be picking back up working on the sides. I forgot I should have fluffed some more of this shade, this brown shade, but kinda didn't. Oops, doodles. Oh well. We'll be okay. Oh, and Kofi Bot is now here as well. The bots have assembled. Alright. So, need to figure out where we're gonna... This is just a little bit of water. Just a couple of drops. Doesn't need to be much. It just kind of helps all the little flyaways kind of pop into line here. Makes it a little bit easier for me to work with, just with how I do it. Now, where do we want to start? Do we want to start up here? Do we want to start on the side? I think I kind of want to start on the side. Alright. Start to work this color in here. Probably gonna have to a little bit more gentle in this spot. So it's a little bit extra crunchy, so it's got a good amount of fluff right there. Hope everybody's Sunday is off to a decent start. And that your Saturday went well. Okay. just filling in our side square here. I got the angle a little off. Cat, what are you doing? Oh, the cat making noises. Climbing all over everything. Because Peanut needs to make it a ninja spy mission to get on top of the crab tank instead of just jumping up there like Cow does. Just slightly vexing. He keeps knocking my wire sculptures and my stuffed animals everywhere. The Mingo collection does not like being disturbed in such a way. Not at all. Alright, so right now we're just kind of working on attaching our base color here. Before we come back in with our highlighty things. Excuse me. Got a little bit of that gold from the tree kind of bleeding through there, but we still need to outline this section. So I think we'll just kind of let that do its thing for the moment. We'll finish getting this section laid in, and then we'll see about doing some outliney things. And we'll go from there. Okay. Yeah, this came out way too far, but that's alright. Sometimes the fluff likes to do what it likes to do. And I'm just kind of along for the ride. Okay. It's quiet Sunday. Turned out we were supposed to get some showers last night, but I don't know if we ever really got them. If we did, it was super brief. Because nothing really looks all that wet outside. So, I don't know. It's still kind of windy from yesterday. One of my wind chimes took some battle damage yesterday in all the wind. I've lost a couple bars on it, so we need to find the string that we have and attempt to replace it or repair it. Alright. We gotta dig deep. No! Shit. Dropped a bag of fluff. That's not good. That's blue. A bucket of fluff here. Don't forsake me. Nope, you're not the right color. Really? What color are you? Nope, you're green. It's a little dark in this corner. There you are. Let's put the other colors back in the bucket so we can find them. Get our taupey color. Kind of like our gray color that's gonna get put in here. Kinda, sorta. I'm gonna attempt to give this a weathered wood look. Don't know how well it's gonna go, but we're gonna try. So I'm gonna try to like pull that apart just a bit. Not going to be perfect, but you know, we'll get the idea across. Or at least that's the idea. Right. This one is much more Bob Rossy than the last one, I feel. The last one just didn't feel quite like regular Bob. It felt like he had to throw in a controversial one to get some attention going there or something. I don't know. It was very strange. Very strange indeed. Just kind of trying to pull these fibers apart just a little bit. So we can get some breaks and stuff in there. So we get some of the brown poking through too. Right, because I don't want this to be solid taupe color, or else we would have just done the taupe color. That section felt a little empty. Felt a little neglected. That's okay, we'll just go back in and add a little bit more color into there. That's an easy fix. That's why I like to start out with less is more mentality on that, because it's a lot easier to add to than it is to try to fix a uh-oh. At least with this medium for me. I don't like going in and trying to rip out the uh-oh. I've done it when I've had to, but it wasn't an enjoyable experience. Alright. A little bit more of our light gray fluff and stuff. Now when you're working with the more spread out pieces of fiber, the thinner pieces of fiber, it might take a little extra attention to get those attached to your liking. Make sure that you've grabbed them all. And that's not so bad. Yeah, so just kind of going back in and hitting up everybody in there, make sure everybody looks good. Alright, I'm gonna flip over and just kind of brush everybody flat. It's just something I like to do. Especially when I find like a section feels like it's getting a little too smushed in. Okay, I just had you. Yes. So I have all of the colors for this project set aside, so I don't have to keep pulling them off of the wall. But I have them set aside in a bucket. My bucket of fluff, basically. And all the colors I keep wanting keep drifting to the bottom. So that's always the way. So I'm gonna add a slight outline pillory guy here. It does feel like there's a little bit of a dark outline here in places. Okay. Now let's move on to our next bit here, which is going to be this section. I don't know why I'm working this direction, but I am today. I mean, I probably should have started here and worked our way down, but I don't know. That side looked lonely, I guess. So we will start filling in on this section now. Okay, that spot had a slight thin section. So I'm just gonna refill that in with that tail there. I might as well. I'm gonna turn the pad. Something about that spot. It doesn't seem to like so much. Or maybe it's just that it's a little bit thicker in there. It's possible. We were using this side for a while. Still got a little section there on the bottom corner. That we still kind of need to figure out what its deal is. Our support corner is a little crooked. Our rustic barn's seen better days. It's very vintage, isn't it? Hope we're not actually keeping any cows in here. Or goats. A few people in the area have goats. I'm not sure what they do with them, but they have them nonetheless. That's black. Alright. Oh, uh-oh. There it is. Hey, that's never a fun time, losing some fluff. Because then later I gotta go try to find it. And that's never a fun time. One day I searched and searched and searched because I thought I lost a piece of fluff. Could not find it. So I was kind of like, well, fuck it at this point. And the dust bunnies won this time. And then like 2 days later I found it. I was like, I knew I dropped something. I had actually begun to convince myself that I had lost my mind. And that I hadn't actually dropped something. Reminds me, I need to blow out my computer. Ow. Can you dump that pot for me?
Yeah.
Alright. Damn it. Uh-oh. I think that one is gone. Oh no. Flashlight, it's dark down there. Oh, okay, it's still in grabbable position. Oh. Yay. Alrighty. I wish I knew why my arches hurt so much. They just fucking ache. Doesn't seem to matter what shoes I'm wearing lately. They just be sore all the time. I took a couple of days off on treadmill. Because I didn't know why my feet were... Not my whole foot, it's just my arch. Is effing cranky. Momo, I just took you out, buddy. It's been a half hour. I took you out before we got started. What is the matter? Hi. What's up? Do we need to fix your blankies? Huh?
Hi.
Or is this more about you wanting to be outside?
He just wants to be outside.
We're not going outside right now.
Not yet, buddy. Okay, I'll take you out a little bit.
You can't possibly have to go potty again. This pupper, man. heard feet, and then it felt like someone was standing behind me. I'm like, what's going on? When I took him out before we got started, he was starting to take me on an expedition. I'm like, no. We need to get started here, pupper. I still have to finish setting up. Like, we're gonna go potty. And we're gonna get back inside. Because being outside is doing me no favors today. Being inside's not doing me any favors either, if we're gonna be perfectly honest. Been having sneezing fits since 6 this morning. It's not fun. Do not recommend. Don't know what in this area is spewing so much pollen. But good grief. Oh God, you don't think we're allergic to those straw bales?
I doubt it. We were having a bad time last year too. There weren't straw bales then.
Yeah. Just seems to be so steady. Alright, I'm just gonna take a piece of this guy. I don't know that our outline's gonna fully fill that in, or our gray for that matter. And I do have one more spot here. That I feel like is just gonna become a bigger problem if I don't do this now. That's fine. We'll just get that guy. Oh wow, yeah, that support beam is rather crooked, isn't it? Oh well. Well, ain't nothing for it now. Can't remember where I left our fluff. Like I knew it was here somewhere. Just a matter of where. So that's probably a little bit thicker than I was anticipating it being. You know, we're okay. We're okay. Okay, so in that view, Bob doesn't have the extra door on this piece. We could still add it. Just so ours is a little different. Just kind of taking the tip of the needle and scraping everything around. Just kind of getting it to where I want it to be, roughly. And hoping it decides to feel my vibe and go with me here, but so far it's kind of being cooperative today. All right. I got my rulers in yesterday, so that's exciting for me. I thought it came with a mini T-square, but I didn't see one in there when I got it. I was like, damn it. That's kind of why I ordered it. I could have swore I saw a mini T-square in the picture. But what I ended up with is still fine, and it is still helpful. And we'll work on playing around with those if I ever finish video editing. I'm about 39 minutes through editing the episode 9 of our follow along stuff, doing the speed felt. So we are making progress. I didn't get very far last night. I was in a section where I had to do a lot of micro cutting. That was pissing me off. I'm like, this is taking forever. It took me like an hour to get through like 2 minutes of video because I kept getting mad. I'm like, no. So I kept stopping for whatever reason, and I was just getting all sorts of pissed off at myself. I was like, why are you doing this? And I think I might owe you a speed paint too. Potentially from the gouache flamingos, because I feel like I ended up working on a bit of that off stream, potentially. That's what it feels like. I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly though. That guy attached in there, and I'm debating about the door. We could like a little doorway here. I'm trying to get that in there. It's gonna be a skinny ass door. I might have to add some more to this. No, you know what? We'll leave it that small just for scale. How about that? I think maybe we will just leave that be. Alright. Now, let's see what we can do here. See about getting... Well, I guess we could just take this straight down. And then we can just add in that middle separator when we get there. And that is certainly an option. Okay. It's time we do a pad rotation too, I think. It's not looking so bad. Looks a little extra dark because there's so much light around it. So it's kind of like swallowing stuff and looking all imposing. I'm hoping that we can alleviate some of the ominousness from this once we start getting our greens and stuff in, giving it another color to work with here. Don't know if we'll get to grass today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how long the barn takes us. And what else Bob has in store for us. So we've still got a fair amount of ground to cover here. If we're gonna be perfectly honest. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Creaky chair. So I know I've got that middle piece here, but I think it's gonna be easier in the long run to do this section top to bottom, and then we'll come back in and re-outline our support section there. Is what I'm thinking. Alright, we ran out of fluff on the desk on this color, so let's grab another little bit here. Now, I work in smaller pieces. I know some people might not agree with that method. Might think I'm just being silly, but it works for me, so, you know. Whoop. You do what works for you, right? Okay. And I'm also using acrylic yarn, which a lot of people use roving, but you can use both, it's fine. It's okay. Some people are allergic to wool and stuff, so it's fine. It's still doable. Now the acrylic yarn does take a little bit more prep involved. I will say that. But you know what? It's a lot more budget friendly for me. So we just have to put in a little extra effort, that's all. If we really want to do it bad enough. We can do it. And I've got all kinds of fluff still. I don't think I've had to replace one color yet in all of our Bob Ross adventures with the needle felting so far. I'm close to needing to replace a color, but that was a color we used on Chungus. That took a lot of fluff. And that was a smaller ball of yarn. But still, that was a critter and not like this, so. Still have a little bit of a thin spot. It's being a little bit cranky right there. That's alright. We'll just grab a small piece of fluff and tack it into that specific spot. I mean, it might not have been a big deal once we got our taupe color in, or our slightly weathered look. But all the same. Just gonna stick a little patchy guy on there. Alright, I'm gonna turn this guy for a minute so I can see what all we are up against here. We've worked on this guy sideways a little bit so far, so not a sight you guys are unfamiliar with. So again, we are needle felting along with the 3rd season of Bob Ross's Joy of Painting, and we are in episode 11 currently. Now, needle felting is a slower medium for me. It's going to be slower than paint no matter how you slice it, I think, personally. So we're going to have the tutorial on pause a bit. So Bob's not, you know, finished the series before we're even a third of the way done the first one. Sometimes they take us an average between, depending on how long our sessions have been, anywhere between maybe 10 to 12 to 15 or so. It depends on how involved a particular one is, and if we are showing prepping my hangers and stuff, so that's really gonna depend. I think our shortest one was maybe 12, maybe 10. Depends on how long the session ones were, though. For a while, we were only able to do maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we were only doing it 1 day a week for a while. We have since gone back, or gone to 2 days a week on it. So we are working our way there. Slowly. But this was never about speed demoning through it. I was just trying to see what we could do, because I hadn't seen anybody follow along with needle felting with him before. I've seen paint, I've seen paint blindfolded, I've seen paint not blindfolded and you're just listening to what he says and you can't see what he's doing. I've seen people turn on red hued lights so they can't really see what color the paints are, and they had somebody else put them on their palette for them. I've seen some people attempt to follow along with acrylics. We've done that a couple times. I don't know if we did it on stream, but we've also followed along with gouache. In fact, we still have an ongoing series with that. Had some spillage there. Might as well use it. But I hadn't seen anybody follow along with him with needle felting. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. Does it look exactly like Bob's? No, it's not going to. Does it look similar? Kinda. If you squint a little bit, you can kind of see the similarities. I've got a little bit in here. It doesn't look to be the most cooperative, so just gonna put a little patchy do over you. I mean, it might have been okay when after we put our taupe in, but the way it was shaping itself out to be, I was kind of afraid it was going to get worse once we added the taupe in. Alright, so I've got another spot right in here. It's probably not picking up on camera, but I can see it. And because I can see it, it's gonna bother me. Okay. Yeah, it's still... Stop it. That is being all sorts of cranky right in there. About wanting to cooperate with us. Alright, look here, piece. Kind of wanting that square left open. So I have an easier time getting our square shape in there for our upper window. Alright, so we're going to turn this way. Hi, Momo. You really want to go pee, huh? Alright, give me just a minute. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Come on.
Old man wants to be outside.
Yeah, I know. Come on, old man.
Just watch the bees out there, buddy.
I ain't that no problem.
Alright. Jeez, on the camera this just kind of looks like a dark abyss that's sort of shaped like a barn. Unless it's just the way my eyes are adjusting to the light when I go to look up at the screen. Gonna need some more brown out of the bag here in just a minute. Alright. So we'll work on getting that section filled in under our window. Or we're gonna try at least. See if it wants to cooperate with us. I'm going to do a flip over and a brush down because we haven't done one of those in a little bit. Kind of see the shape on the back, kind of, sort of. Where'd our black was trying to walk away. Let's not do that. I mean, I still have a good amount of black, but I'd rather not lose it to the dust bunnies. They have enough of an army. They don't need any more in their ranks. Thank you very much. So let's just not go there. I lost my drink. Got it tucked on the other side of my desk. All right. Can't wait to get caught up on video editing. I am trying so hard to get that stuff done for you guys. It's been kind of non-stop craziness since we got back from our trip in the end of January, the beginning of February. But hey, no house emergencies this week. That's been super stellar. We have to celebrate that. You know, because shortly after we got back, then we had to deal with the electrician finally putting a plug in an outlet for mother-in-law's sister for their RV. And that was an unexpected expense that we had not planned on happening. But I think we paid for it outright, and then the aunt gave us her portion. She split it with the mother-in-law. And then the mother-in-law gave us a little bit towards it too. I think we put a little bit towards it on our own, just to keep the stupidness from happening and circuit breakers tripping and everything and dealing with that kerfluffles. Then what happened after that? Something happened. Oh, and then the car started acting up. And we're like, oh no. But we figured out what was going on with that. And when we take the car in for maintenance, we're going to tell them about it and see if they can replace the brackets that hold the battery in place or whatever. The last attempt at making it stay in place that Russell did seems to be working so far. But it's not really a fix because we haven't really had that many jarring potholes around here. There were some pretty jarring potholes on certain sections of interstate that we had driven through. So I'm like, yeah, I want to see if they can do something about that. Because I was like, do we need to rent a car to do this? Because I'm a little concerned that your fixes aren't going to work while we're on the road. So he's like, no, it's not all that bad. And I was like, okay. And then there was the lawnmower kerfluffle. Was not happy. Or did the hot water heater happen before the lawnmower? I don't know. I think the lawnmower, car, and hot water heater were all within a week and a half to 2 weeks of each other. And then the stove was the last thing. It's just been one crisis after another. And none of these were inexpensive crises either. So it's been kind of stressful and hectic, and although the mother-in-law is going to go half with us on the hot water heater. I didn't know she was. I thought we were just eating that $1,800 between the new hot water heater and the guys draining it, removing it, putting the new one in, taking the old one away. We like those guys though. They're good at their job. They work with us. And what they quote is what it is. If there's any weird overages in their estimate or something doesn't go right, they're not changing the final price on us. So, but she is gonna try to put some towards that, which I didn't know. So I'm like, oh, well, at least we'll get some of that back to put back in our savings account. This month we were actually able to put something into the savings account. So we can start trying to replenish and get back up to where we were. So is anybody actually going to try to watch the eclipse tomorrow? I mean, I don't care if you are. If you want to, that's fine. I'm not. I might watch it on YouTube, but I think we're going to be streaming. I might watch it later on YouTube. I don't know. I kind of like meteor showers a bit better. I've seen like 2 meteors since we've lived here, just by happenstance. We'd gotten a telescope, but when we were gonna use it, it was like weird humid out, and every time we went in and out, like lenses were fogging up, and we just kind of gave up. Like it was a Christmas gift. So haven't really done much with it. Sorry about the weird angle, but I kind of want to see where I am on this roof line. So I do apologize about that. Okay. We're getting there. We're certainly not making as fast as progress as last week, but we're getting there. Husband had another sleepless night. I don't know why he hasn't been able to sleep lately. I don't know if the eclipses are bothering his anxiety or his whatever's he's got going on, but I was able to sleep a little bit. I know we've both been weird lately. We both got pretty easy into a constant state of motion routine while we were away. And it's been really difficult settling back into post-vacation routines. Of not constantly having to be on the go. That up. Okay, we're looking pretty good, pretty good. So it would be heap tons better if our allergies would just calm the fuck down for just a little bit. Oh. Like a weird gap starting to form along our edge here. And that I didn't like, so we're just gonna kind of nip that now. So, I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. I know right now it just looks like a black blob, but, you know. We're starting to make inroads. Slowly starting to. Alright, so I'm going to turn this guy back sideways here for just a minute. Work on getting this bit here. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon as we are tapping along, getting our needle felt on. Seeing how we do. So we need just a little bit more to finish out this middle piece on the brown. Excuse me. No amount of Benadryl today is gonna help then not feel me like an elephant. So, you know. Ugh. Tired of this bullshit. These allergies are just ridiculous. I'm starting to lose my patience with them. Especially having the 5 sneeze in a row sneezing fit earlier, and then another, I think I had a 7 fit in a row yesterday afternoon. Or maybe it was last night. I was just like, come on now. This needs to stop, you. Alright, I need to change how I'm sitting here. Whew. Okay. Oh, Pupper's coming back in. Ow! Fuck!
You okay?
Yeah.
What happened?
I just scraped my knee on the keyboard tray.
I'm sorry. You've got a needle in your hand?
No, I didn't have a needle in my hand.
I know. You had needles in your grasped in your hands previously. And I walk in and you're like, ah, fuck!
No, my knee slammed into the corner of the keyboard tray. No stabbies. Not this time.
Oh, let's keep it that way, eh?
I'd endeavor to. It was pretty warm in here today, though. What's it outside? 71-ish. I don't always trust the temperatures that the weather station that Windows 11 is using near me, because it's not that close to us, and it's always different than what our local TV weather tells us. I do have a thermometer outside, but it's in the shade. We have it on one of the back side of the pillars of our front porch. So we have string in this house somewhere to fix my wind chime, but I have no idea where it is. It got shuffled around when our desks switched places, and And I don't know what container the husband tucked it into. So we need to fix that one that took quite a lot of battle damage yesterday. There's only 2 little tone bars hanging off of it now, or tone tubes, and I'm like, no. And I have some metal flamingos that their bodies are kind of like on springs. So when the wind blows, they kind of shimmy back and forth, and we've dubbed them my anxiety flamingos. The wind knocked all of them over. So I still have to fix them and get them resituated. It still marked us as windy today, but it doesn't seem as concerningly windy as yesterday. Although earlier when I was bringing Momo inside, I will say that there's a tree that sits between our house and our neighbor's driveway. It's not an overly large tree, but as I was coming onto the porch, one of the branches just gave up the ghost. It was a thinner branch, and just snapped off and just slammed into the trunk or the hood of his pickup truck. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that just happened. Alright. I might have to order a wind chime string because I found some place that specifically has it. What we were using wasn't specifically wind chime string, but it was similar enough where we're like, okay, this is fine. But it's not quite right. Alright, so we're just working on getting our weathered wood look in here. We're trying, at least. Alright, just want to pop up off of our mat every so often. I mean, you don't have to, but you're gonna sincerely wish you had when you get to the end and try to pull your project off of your mat. It's not going to release very well. And you're gonna have the feeling that mistakes were made and regrets are now had. So I've been there. It was a much smaller piece. I hadn't seen anywhere say, oh, you know, make sure you're picking your project up periodically, because this could happen. Nobody had mentioned that in all the stuff I had looked at. And I was like, oh, this is fine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't fine. And I had a hell of a time peeling that off. Now, if you're using foam, like the foam matting, the foam mats, that might not be an issue. But when you're using like the fabric-y wool or needle felting mats, highly recommend it. Okay. That will give a new thing to think about when you talk about separation anxiety. Like, oh no. What is happening? We had to run to Walmart last night to get something. The fuck did we need? Oh, I needed rug shampoo. I was gonna run out soon. And we needed mop the floor stuff. Pine Sol. We had run out. We had been using something else on the floor. It wasn't really specifically for the floor though. And we spilled some flavor syrup yesterday, and now the floor is a sticky mess. Even after we wiped it up with water, it's like, yeah, no, this ain't cutting it. So we ran to Walmart to get that stuff real quick, and Russell saw a rubber chicken dog toy. And he's like, I want to get it just to see the dog's reaction. I'm like, he's not going to play with it. He goes, but I want to see. It's like, alright. He's terrified of it. He starts getting mad and barking at it. He hates that thing so much. Sounds like you're murdering a pig when you squeeze it like all the way down and let go. Like, oh my god. I'm like, what is this noise? Like, no, this is not it. Definitely not. Oh, so he had... Oh. That's okay. I thought the slats on the top were going a different direction. You know what? It's fine. We could change it. But you know what? I think it's gonna look better this way for our medium. We are gonna make an executive decision. Mostly because I don't want to rip all that out. And in the long run, this will just be easier. We'll still put our support bar back across there to separate the two. The person that built our barn decided to do it this way. Give me 1 second here. It's been so warm, we've had all kinds of fans running. Oh, that's on the wrong playlist. Okay. Or am I? Gray. Alright. So I just take a small amount and I'm kind of separating the fibers out a little bit. You still have to go back in and clean this up and clean this up. But I'm separating them out a little bit just so we can get some of our dark brown to shine through it. To try to achieve our weathered look here. What did everybody do this weekend? Everybody have a good one? Even doing nothing can be a good weekend. If that's what you need. I don't know if we're doing game night with my mom tonight. Depends on how the husband feels later. We're having French toast for dinner. And some bacon. And some roasted potatoes. And the potatoes are gonna get kind of like breakfasty potato thingies. We do a little bit of onion powder, some garlic powder, salt, pepper, and some paprika, and a little bit of olive oil, just a teeny bit, just to kind of coat everybody. And then those are gonna go in the oven. At least that's the plan for dinner as of right now. And we bought the Texas toast bread, so it's chunky bits. Haven't had time to make bread from scratch lately. And we've just been a little busy. So what do we think is the next thing that's going to go? Is it going to be my mixer? Or is it going to be the fridge?
Mixer.
That was on sale. And it's been a little weird since shortly after we got it. Sometimes it doesn't always turn on. It was part of a weird sale that I think Target was doing. Somebody was doing it. Where they were like $200 off or some shit.
And they had a sale thing going on at the Sam's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Brought it up, but,
Were the bowls offset?
no, it was pretty much the same.
Like if I replace that guy, I kind of want to go for a slightly upgrade if possible. It bugs me because the top thingy doesn't flip up, so it's a pain in the ass adding stuff to the bowl after you've put the bowl in place. And the bowl's not offset, so it's just kind of a pain. It does help me though with my neck and getting stuff kneaded and mixed, but it's still a little bit of a struggle bus sometimes trying to get it to cooperate. That will be for when the current one gives up the ghost, because that's going to be an expense. Now, we have had that one for several years now. I feel like we got it during COVID, or just before COVID or something.
No, it was a while before that.
Oh, so we've had that longer than I thought.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not held up too badly. Alright. So we'll get this guy popped into here. Again, I like going with the less is more to start out with. If it needs more, that's fine. We'll come back in and add it. But I like to do this at a slightly slower pace. Because it's a lot easier to add to than to take away. Especially when we're talking with all these little wispy guys in here. Alright, so I do want a little bit more on this side. Just to kind of fill in that section there. Okay. That's probably good enough. Alright, so we're gonna grab our black here. I'm just gonna try to skinify this a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna attach that about there. Alright. So we'll get this outliney guy here. I'm going to take you across the bottom here. Now I don't have to do this, but it just kind of felt like he had it a little bit darker on the edges and stuff, so just kind of, it's giving it a little bit of help to define our corners and supports and stuff too, so it is serving a couple of purposes. those tails tucked into there. Okay, so we have 2 more. You're not as attached as you could be. That's alright. We're gonna put more black in there. It'll end up getting attached one way or another. So this guy's not gonna be long enough to do much of anything with. So I'll tell you what, I was originally gonna use this to fill in our upper little window piece, but it was kind of small for that. So we'll do this instead. We'll start to outline our door. Okay, black. We need some more black fluffs. Okay, so now put the extra fluff back there for the moment. Sorry, I had to check on something real super quick there. The all-important finger protectors. I need to get a new pair. I mean, these are still working, but oh, that was not enough. Okay. Okay, definitely need a new pair, but these will do for now. I really should have a backup pair anyway in case I lose these guys. Some people can work just fine without them. My hand-eye coordination is not the greatest at times, so it's just better to have them on to try to prevent a problem. I know my weak points, and if I don't work within those or try to accommodate them to prevent a larger problem, then that's kind of just silly and on me, totally. What is happening here? Are you a thin? Yeah, okay. Alright, so we've got a little bit of thin spottiness going on here. Just spots that we didn't quite get covered up. Okay. And doing that showed us another just on the seam there where those two colors meet. I didn't quite overlap them enough. I mean, it probably would have been fine, but I don't know that. Okay, now get our black fluff and stuff here. I need more than that. Just gonna get a little bit of water. Just kind of helps all the little fuzzes come together a little bit easier, so they're not quite so cranky. Let go. Okay. So this guy's gonna get tacked down there. Take this guy across to here. If you do decide to twist it like that just to try to get it a little bit skinnier, don't twist it super tight, because then you're not going to be able to get your needle through it. You might just end up snapping your needle, which is not fun. We've done that before. We try to prevent the snapping of the needles. So we don't know where that snap needle is going to fly. Sometimes it's stuck in the project. Other times it goes flying off somewhere and then we have to find it quickly. We can't just chalk it up to be like, oh, I'll find it later. No. Those guys are dangerous. You need to find them, like, ASAP. They're very sharp. There's little barbies cut into the needle to grab the fluff to help weave them all together. Because you're just merging the layers of fiber into each other. So these have to be sharp to get through all of that. No point in chopping that little bit off. We can just fold it up and add it to our square here. Let's try to fill in our door here. Let's see, what time is it? Well, I don't know. I'd say we might start grass today, but it really depends on how much time our door takes us here and this section. We'll see. Alright. So this week, I'm hoping to finish up the speed felt on episode 9. Sorry, my legs are achy today. I'm trying to sit in a way where they're not bugging me. Sorry, I keep shuffling around. That's my plans for this week, is to finish the episode 9 speed felts. Hopefully we can make that happen. The black? Guess we underestimated how much black we were going to need to pull out. I mean, I've got a ton more. If we have a whole Ziploc-y filled with it. Alright. So far, looking pretty good there. I know we're still sideways. I like that on purpose. See. I mean, I was a little nervous about this barn. Because I knew our angles weren't quite right. But, even with that in mind, it's not looking too bad. We're getting there. Can't wait till we start our grasses. That'll be fun. So we've got some new greens that for Christmas that we'll finally be able to test out here. So that's kind of exciting. Well, I find it exciting. I know a lot of other people probably don't. They're like, yeah, it's yarn. What the fuck ever. But it's always fun to see how a new color is going to work with your existing color palettes. I think. Still having a little bit of a cranky edge there. Alright, one more little piece oughta hopefully take care of that. This is a little bit bigger than we necessarily needed. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. And there's no point in chopping off that little bit on the ends. We'll just kind of flip that up and tack that down on the edge there. Alright, let's see. Let's turn our mat. Alright. Not too bad there. Okay. Let's put black over there. We have to get some more brown pulled out here in just a minute. Alright. So I'm going to try to get right up against our black edge there, if possible. So we got him a little bit short. We can still fix that though. It's not a big deal. Not really. Alright. So fill in this spot. Actually, I don't remember what's next after this color. He might just coat everything in Van Dyke Brown. That is a possibility. Which, if that's the case, I don't think we have quite enough brown fluff to finish. Sorry, there was something on the edge of my bag and I didn't know what it was. I don't know if I'll have quite enough to finish this without fluffing more brown, like entirely. So we're gonna have to see. Okay. Just have a little bit more of our dark brown to fill into this section before we can put our final highlights in on the barn. Okay, just want to make sure that we are getting up against our edge here. As best as we can. Just to avoid any weird seamy guys later. Alright, let's go ahead and snip this bit. And we'll tack down our tails. Alrighty. We officially have walls on our barn. Oh, yeah. We've got a little bit of a split. Not really a split, but like a section that didn't really get properly filled in there. Along our edgy guy. Okay. Some loose fuzzies I'm seeing from this direction. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's grab our gray. Technically, they're calling this taupe. I kind of feel like it's not quite brown enough to be a proper taupe, but That's what they're calling it, so that's what we're gonna roll with. So this is taupe from Big Twist Value. Have a couple different yarn brands that I use, not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Lately we've been using a combination of the Big Twist Value line of yarn and Paint Box yarns. They're both acrylic versions. I know Paint Box has a couple different fiber types. We're using their acrylic version. And I do have a tiny amount of roving still. That I will use from time to time on pieces, especially if I just need some accenty colors or if I just don't have the right color in the yarn, which has happened a couple of times. We've used a couple of shades of the roving up entirely. But I never really had enough roving where I felt confident in doing a Bob Ross piece in just that. Maybe if I was working on a smaller size. I know we're zoomed in, but this is about roughly, it's going to be just under 8 by 10 by the time we're done. Like the outer square is like, this is 9 by 12, I think. The inner square, I think, is roughly 8 by 10. But by the time we get done and we get it all trimmed up and the excess cut off, it's going to be slightly under 8 by 10 by the time we're done. Just a little bit more. Just to fill in this section here. And then we'll see about getting our last little piece of black on the bottom edge here, just to finish outlining this guy. Felt like this side was more indented than that side. It might have just been the way the pad was sitting. That's why I was fussing with that a little extra. Alright. So I'm gonna put the taupe to the side for right now. I'm gonna close the brown, but I'm not gonna put it away just yet. So I have a feeling we're not quite done with it. Just put that in that corner. not putting a lot of pressure on this little snaky tail here. I just have my finger resting on it. I'm not like smooshing it down or anything. It's just gentle pressure. Just to keep it from eating too much of it. Because the barbs like to just take an amount and it's like, okay, it's off to the races. It's like, no. I didn't want you to have that much. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna tuck our black back into its bag for right now. Alright, and I think we can declare our barn pretty much done. I didn't end up putting any white highlight on it. I don't know that we really need it for how we're doing ours, so I'm going to advance the tutorial here. Okay, so he's gonna come in here. And start laying in some dirt. It's gonna kind of meet up to the edge of the water. We haven't put our water in yet. That's what this is gonna be. So he's gonna do the whole thing in brown. That's a lot of brown there, Bob. Like, that is a lot of brown. So he's got the pond there, so then he's gonna bring the reflections down into the pond. Okay. And then he's gonna take yellow, permanent red, sap green. He's making a mess there. And he's putting in some grassy dews. Okay, so I guess we kind of do need to do the brown. That's what I was trying to see. I wasn't sure if we really needed to go full brown here. He's got a bit more dirt there than I expected. Alright, well, ours doesn't need to look exactly the same. Okay. Alright. So, we'll leave it at that. Okay. So we're kind of working on this side. This needs to be at a slightly different angle. Like I said, our angles are a little bit different than Bob's here. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly matching. Ours can be a little bit different. Alright, so in fact, we are gonna be quite a bit different here with where our grass is gonna hang out here. So we're gonna start to get our dirt laid in here. Alright, so he's got a bit more of just dirt along our pond shore here. Than I think I really got the feel for when we were looking at the final piece. I mean, our sketch that we did of the final piece is a little bit of a skinnier path here. But I think we're all right. That should be okay. And again, these pen lines are somewhat, they're not meaningless, but they're just suggestive. It's kind of where I'm suggesting I need to stop here and think about doing X or putting X here. But it's not like I have to be right on those sections. But I also like needed the help in where I was gonna place stuff, because sometimes I get carried away and I'm all into it and I'm like, yeah, we're doing this, and then all of a sudden I'm like down here and I'm like, oh wait, we still need to do the things. And then I'm like scrambling trying to go back to fix the rest of it so we can do the things. So sometimes I get a little bit carried away. So I have the pen lines down as a mental reminder of, hey, pay attention. You need to change what you're doing here. Remember, this needs to go here. And that's helped me a bit. Because, you know, we know Bob doesn't really sketch anything out ahead of time, but it was getting to the point where I needed something down. Just so I remember what's coming. And what the heck I still need to work into the area. Really? Okay. That got very attached there. More attached than I thought it should. That means it's time to rotate the pad. Change places! Okay. But so far we're not looking too shabby. I don't think. We're looking fairly good here. Now let's get our brown for our next bit here. Okay. I don't have much room to maneuver under my desk here because I've got our one box of yarn. I mean, I could turn it, I guess. Change which way it's facing. So I've got 2 storage totes of yarn that is extra. Not really extra, but it's all of the yarn that we have fluffed on the yarn wall. It's the rest of its skeins. I probably technically could fluff all of the skein. It's gonna take a while. I would probably have to put it in gallon Ziploc bags then. Right now I'm using quarts. I upgraded from sandwich because the quarts are a little bit thicker. The quart freezer bags. So we're just gonna follow our slope here down to our pond with our dirt. Now I did briefly consider omitting the dirt because we are going to be putting grassy bits on top of it and, you know, covering up a good deal of it. But at the same time, we can't really have any breaks or anything in our dirt, like in our grass, to show some of the dirt like hanging out back in there. If we do that, it's gonna have to be all solid right on top of each other. And he does have a few breaks in there. So I'm thinking maybe we do put the dirt in. And we try to do the same here. Where we've got some breaks in the dirt with our grassy bits. Like, I'm not talking about a lot of breaks, just a little bit, but since I don't know where those might occur yet, probably just be easier to get our dirt laid in first. And all the way in, because, you know, there might be some that happen naturally as we're going. And then we don't have to be quite so on top of the grass being quite so abominably thick and lush in every single part. I don't know, this is just the way this piece of dirt went in. I don't know. That's just the way it wanted to go in this time, so I was like, okay. It's so dark. You can kind of see that once we start getting the grass in and we start getting a lot of our gray covered up here, where we won't have quite so much light reflecting back, like super bright, because this gray almost looks white, it's so bright. Now, we were supposed to get a delivery today from Amazon. I don't know if that got changed or not. We needed food prep gloves. Because I'm weird about touching raw meat. I don't like it. Especially when I'm working with chicken and I have to bread it and stuff. Not a fan of touching it, so food prep gloves it is. I'm gonna use them for other stuff too, but they're like multi-use type glovies, and we're supposed to get containers. We've been getting these like little thin round containers that I store my extra spaghetti sauce in when I make it to freeze it for later. My mom keeps taking those containers to feed the cats, and then she leaves the container outside, and then the wind blows the container away, and then she has to take another container. And I was gonna make spaghetti sauce today originally, and then we realized we didn't have enough containers, and I'm like, where the fuck are they all going? I did break a couple though. I didn't know my own strength, or they were the older containers that had been floating around, and when I tried to pop one of my pucks of spaghetti sauce out of them, I shattered the bottom of it. I didn't know my own strength apparently. So when we go to put the grass in, on top of our dirt here, I'm going to try to follow the same bit here, right? So we can kind of keep the feel of that sloping downward. Now this section doesn't have to be super perfect, but I'll try to get it as filled in as we can. See what we can do here. If anything, I know it's not really going to be able to see the angles of the dirt when we start putting the grass in. I get that. But I'm hoping if it looks like the fiber is going in a specific direction, my brain will be like, oh, hey, let's just follow this angle and we'll see where things take us. At least that's the plan. Will that actually happen? I don't know. It's me. It might. It might not. We'll see how things turn out. You okay? You alright?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your kitten was sitting there at the food bowl meowing at me. Like, you've got all your food, what do you want? And then
She wants kisses.
And she literally just had her tail sitting in the water bowl. Just laying there in the water bowl. Completely ignoring it.
She wanted kisses before she ate, or she was begging for people food.
I might have been begging for people food.
She's very nosy. She always likes to see what I'm up to and if there's going to be anything for her. Now, are you still having French toast?
That's the plan, yes.
Okay. Wherever you disappeared to, Zuzu was very upset. And in here looking for you. Oh. I know the other morning I was concerned because it was like going on 8 o'clock and I don't think she'd even come out to get her coffee yet. At like 7:30, Zuzu and Momo kept like trying to wake me up because she wasn't up yet. I'm like, look, damn it. You need to go wake her up if you want her up, not me. I'm not in charge of making breakfast. I barely breakfast myself. I eat something, but it's not technically traditional breakfast all of the time. What was breakfast today? Breakfast today was a cup of orange juice with 1 pump of cherry flavoring in it, which actually kind of helped make it not quite so acidic to me. I'm sure it didn't really, but it made the taste a lot easier to swallow, shall we say. Smoother, maybe. I had a few grapes. I cut up one of our apples that we needed to get eating. And had some caramel dip for those. 2 oatmeal cookies that we made from a mix the other day. And a cheese stick. Like a string cheese stick. That was breakfast. Not the greatest breakfast, but it was something. I'll take you since you're all over here by your lonely self. Now I might make this grass a little bit taller over here just to kind of cover that little bit where the sky's peeking through that tree. Because that's been bothering me for a little bit. Okay. So we didn't make as much progress as Monday, but still progress nonetheless. And we did get the barn pretty much finished, I believe. Definitely has more of the traditional Bob Ross color palette going for it. The only thing it doesn't quite have is the pine trees. But that's okay. I like these trees a little bit better. They're a little bit easier to do with the needle felting. Okay. Never did get laundry started. I guess that'll be a tomorrow me problem. Or maybe a later tonight me. It kind of depends on what we have going on this evening. Probably be a tomorrow me problem. Or at this rate, it might be a Tuesday me problem. I'd prefer it to be a Tuesday me problem, but I don't know how many clothes the husband has left. He must have something left because he didn't start it before me, so. Kind of what I use as the gauge. Sometimes I do like to look at it from different angles. Sometimes I will see thin spots that I didn't see from a different angle that I definitely want to get dealt with now that I've seen it. I've ignored tiny thin spots in the past. I'm like, oh, it's fine. We're gonna put this color over it. And then as I've put the other color over it, it's actually gotten bigger. I would just rather deal with it now and just, you know, be done with it. The real question is, will I need to fluff more of this in order to finish this piece? I don't know. I mean, maybe? Maybe. I'm uncertain. At this point in time. So the top is a little bowed out, like it's kind of like the group. I either might have to add a little more brown to that, or I might just leave it be, because our dowel rod hanger will probably cover a little bit of this top edge. Or it probably really won't matter in the end because of where that's going to get placed. We'll kind of see when we get there. The only things I cut off are the sides, so if I have to add a little bit more to that top edge, we will. Pretty good there. Move you over. I'm almost out of water in that anyway. So we probably should refresh that, but my hands aren't super slippery today. I've got put some lotion on earlier that might actually be helping. Well, it was a few hours ago. Okay. Get this piece. Don't want to lose our line here. See, that would not at all be helpful. this is the main guideline that I care about the most, is our edgy guy. I'm trying like hell to stay on that one. Like, that's the main one I want to try to preserve the most here. Alright, so this guy. Get up underneath, or right on the edge of our trees here. I did put a little piece of brown. I didn't make it all the way across though. We do have some brown up there. Alright, I am gonna turn this guy just so I can see him a little bit better. Because my arm was in shadow a little bit. Like, what I had to see was being shadowed by my arm. Let's put it that way. And I need to make sure I don't misjudge where my fingers are. That would not be a good thing. So, we're just gonna turn him. Just for a little bit. While we get this part figured out. This was a little bit of a thicker guy, so taking just a minute to get that all attached down into there. Okay. You know what? That's perfect. I will take you, as I've got a small section in here. I had a couple little thinner bits shining through. Now right now I'm just working on the dirt under our grass. We're gonna do this after, I think. Like, I kind of feel like I want to get this edge established before we start putting in this. So, just so I don't lose where I wanted this to be. And I mean, we've got it pretty well covered. I feel like. It's not perfectly covered. And that's okay, but it is pretty well dealt with. 'Cause I think our grass is gonna take care of a lot of that. That always gets a little wonky no matter what we do. The outer edges, but you know what? We'll clean it up as best as we can when the time comes. It happens. I think our fast progress might have been faking us out here. So we still have a little ways to go. But like, it's like, oh, it's not that bad, but then I'm like, oh, we still have the pond to put in. That's gonna slow us down just a little bit. Not too tragically, but it will slow us down to a degree. All right. So there's that side. He kind of has the same thing going on the other. We kind of stopped where it was zoomed in. In fact, let me see here. Okay. So yeah, he's got it like all up into here. It still kind of has the same downslope. Now this one doesn't have as wide of a path right up on the pond. There's a little bit like up into here, but right in here is a little bit thinner. I'm like, oh wow, look how far he is. We don't have that much farther to go, but we kind of do, because we haven't done the water yet, and he already put his water in. Okay. So let's see. Figure out our dirt line here. The inside row of this, it can be a little uneven because it's just going to be more of this same shade kind of tossed down into there. Didn't quite feel like we were giving ourselves quite enough room. So we executive decisioned an adjustment. Alright. So we'll get another bit of floof and stoof. Kind of work off of our corner post here. As we start to get this side's dirt put into place. So we're not so floaty. Alright, now get a bit more here. And let's see. I guess we should technically, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, finish filling in this section. So it's going to look a little bit silly. If we don't take care of that, alright. But all in all, we're not doing too bad today. Tomorrow, we are gonna finish putting in our dirt here so that we can plant our grass. So the grass has something to cling to. All right. Now, our dirt will end up continuing around down this way. I just didn't want to put that line in until we filled that section in, because it's going to look silly. I mean, it looks silly at the moment anyway, but I think we're going to stop there. It's almost stop time anyway. But not bad, not bad. I mean, we did do a lot of barn work today, so yay. Barn's basically done. Better idea of what we're working with here. Tomorrow we are streaming normal time frame. So we'll be finishing putting in our dirt. And if we have time tomorrow, we'll start the grass. I don't know that we will. It kind of depends, because this is a lot of real estate that we have to fill in with dirt. So, we'll see. We'll see. But tomorrow we are definitely getting dirty. So schedule for this week is going to be Monday this, Dark Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday will be Coral Island, and Friday we'll be back in Planet Zoo, and Saturday I think we're going to Bob Ross gouache paint, I think. Is kind of what leaning towards there. So we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow the socially links down below. There's the Twitter, the Ko-fi, the Instagram, and the YouTube channel. And hopefully this week we can get the speed felt of episode 9 finished and published. I'm hoping. That's my goal. Don't know if it's gonna happen, but we're sure as shit gonna try. And then I can hand over my hard drive to the husband so he can do his edit pass on 10. So we can try to get that to you as soon as we can. But, yeah, so that's it for tonight. You guys have a good one, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for part 5.